Not criticise Russia, yeah, Bev, indeed. Wang Yi reiterating the Chinese position. He was asked directly by a foreign journalist if China is embarrassed or disappointed in Russia's actions and whether China is willing to criticise or condemn Russia for invading its neighbour. And he said that the situation, he called it, he didn't say an invasion, the situation in Ukraine is due to many complex factors. And he said in order to resolve this situation, we need cool heads, rational minds. He was sort of having a veiled dig at the European nations and the United States. And he basically said that he supports all sides, China supports all sides to engage in peaceful negotiations. Now, on face value, this makes it sound like China is taking a neutral stance. It's not supporting the Russian invasion, nor is it supporting Ukraine. But of course, this is a very embarrassing position, Bev, for China, because traditionally territorial sovereignty and territorial integrity has been a mainstay of China's foreign policy positions. And to have one country quite blatantly invade another country, this is a real contradiction for China's long-standing commitment to territorial sovereignty. So, on the other hand, Wang Yi also said that he expects the increasingly close partnership with Russia to develop even further. So it really looks like China is backing Russia indirectly by basically turning a blind eye to what the Russians are doing, but on the other hand is trying to set itself up to be the country that can broker some sort of future peace negotiation.
Yeah, interesting. And, we wondered what might happen in terms of support from China to Russia because of all the sanctions. And we got a glimpse of that with China seems to be stepping in to fill the breach left by Visa and MasterCard, which have said now they won't do business with Russia.
Well, we're seeing reports that some Russian banks already intend to issue new bank cards with UnionPay, which is the Chinese government's payment system. It is a rival to Visa and MasterCard. It's actually the biggest payment system in the world by transaction volume, but that's because about something like 98% of those transactions take place in China itself. On the global scale, UnionPay is increasingly widely available, but doesn't really compare to Visa or MasterCard. So this would, in theory, make it easier for Russian consumers to facilitate payments, certainly with Chinese companies, and to some extent with businesses outside of China, but it won't quite be the same as replacing the sort of network access that Visa and MasterCard provided.
Yeah. Did Wang Yi have anything to say about comparisons being drawn between Ukraine and Taiwan?
He sure did, Bev. He said you cannot compare them. He reiterated China's position that Taiwan is an inalienable part of China and no other country has any right to interfere. It is completely an internal matter. Now, of course, this doesn't reflect reality. The Taiwanese are very keen if conflict were to be initiated by China in future. They would be very keen for the United States and perhaps Japan to step in. But Wang Yi said that Ukraine and Russia is a clear-cut case of two separate countries having a conflict. He basically said that the way that China sees it, Taiwan is a different case. Here's the most important thing, what he said today. He said eventually Taiwan will return to the motherland. Now, returning to the motherland, that's boilerplate language, but his use of the word eventually, I think, was a signal trying to take the heat out of any suggestion that China would try and use this Ukraine crisis to make some sort of move on Taiwan.
Yeah, or that it would be imminent. So that is interesting, Bill. Australia, not surprisingly, got a bit of a stir from Wang Yi. It's, I guess, no surprise given the alliances that we are forming with the US.
Yeah, Australia wasn't actually mentioned by name, but the United States was a huge focus of this once-a-year press conference from the Chinese foreign minister. There's just an utter obsession with the US now in China's foreign policy. It gets blamed for everything. It's being blamed by state media a great deal for Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And in the context of Asia-Pacific or Indo-Pacific, Wang Yi said that the three key alliances that Australia has with the United States, the Quad, the Five Eyes intelligence sharing arrangement and now the AUKUS alliance with both the US and Britain, that these alliances have a sinister purpose. And he said that ultimately it's all part of a US ploy to try and create a NATO equivalent in the Indo-Pacific, which is aimed at containing China. This is a long-standing thing that the Chinese government talks about, being the world's most populous country, Bev, being the world's second biggest military by expenditure. China is not a country that needs to rely on alliances, and the way the Chinese government wants to see it in our part of the world, smaller countries shouldn't be forming military alliances either. China obviously would rather deal with countries on a one-on-one bilateral basis because it's highly advantageous for Beijing to do so. So Wang Yi repeating that criticism of Australia's increasingly close alliances with the United States in this region.
Bill Birtles in Taipei, thank you so much. Good to talk.
Thank you.